Thousands of years before the fall of Bast, the title-locked Moon of Kenshi was home to the First Empire, a prosperous and advanced civilization that expanded across the entire continent. Yet the First Empire eventually declined and fell, likely due to a civil war which led to the first extinction, when intelligent skeleton robots would have exterminated their human creators, if not for Stove, a great behemoth robot who sacrificed his life to save the last of humanity. In awe of Stove's heroism, many skeleton robots were deeply ashamed of their actions, so sickened by all the death they witnessed, they could not live with the guilt, resulting in some lost to mass suicides, while others learned to live with the pain, forever plagued by bouts of depression. Even after the Chaos Age, which followed the first extinction, skeletons could not escape the guilt of their past actions, watching as the surviving remnants of humanity fell to primitive barbarism, and so a group of heroes banded together to found the Second Empire, led by their greatest warrior, the Emperor Cat-lon. Their goal was to seek redemption for skeleton kind by creating a safe and prosperous environment for what remained of humanity. Though Cat-lon's Second Empire thrived for many years, the growing human population started to present problems for the government, with one of the greatest threats to civil order emerging from a cult that worshipped Stove, revering the giant robot for saving their people, while resenting the skeletons who nearly wiped them out. Possibly learning from the example of Stove, much of the cult's early teachings revolved around peace, personal responsibility, and kindness to others. But over time, with so much of their true history lost during the Chaos Age, the cultists evolved their practices and beliefs, forgetting the name Stove, which they replaced with Kitrin, while rewriting their origins as follows. Long ago, humans lost faith in their great and powerful god Kitrin. Yet when a great calamity arose, they repented and begged for Kitrin's help. A merciful deity, he forgave his children and sacrificed his life to cleanse the planet of sickness. Kitrin was then reborn in two forms: Okrin, the god of day, warmth, and renewal, associated with human males, and Narco, the god of night, cold, and destruction, represented by females and all non-humans. These new beliefs then encouraged their more extreme elements to hate technology and discriminate against anyone who wasn't human, considering them potential agents of Narco, including all skeleton kind. Organizing themselves into a humanocentric religion that only valued lighter-skinned Greenlanders and dark-skinned Scorchlanders, the cultists started to follow the Holy Phoenix, a leader who acted as lawgiver and messenger of Okrin. Upon his deathbed, the Phoenix declared his spirit would return in the first male child born after his death, and so it was in this way the second Holy Phoenix was chosen, starting a tradition that continued for over 1,000 years. As their popularity grew, the cultists started clashing with the government, and so Cat-lon chose to be punitive, sending General Hat 12, leader of the police force, to crush the rebels and restore order. Yet his iron-fisted approach only increased the popularity of more extreme factions within the cult, which spread the message skeletons were agents of Narco, hoping to destroy humanity in a second extinction. Nevertheless, Emperor Cat-lon refused to compromise and escalated to using military forces, possibly including the genetically enhanced Enforcers, which may explain why the cultists considered them non-human beasts who served Narco. The rebellion went on for centuries, slowly weakening the empire and pushing Cat-lon to new extremes. While the cultist rebellion grew so large and powerful, they broke away from the Second Empire, establishing the Holy Nation in the fertile lands at the center of the continent. As Cat-lon's realm continued to decline, the final catastrophe came from a great famine, which at last saw the state dissolve, with individual peoples migrating to more resource-rich lands, or else ending their association with the Second Empire. Meanwhile, the Holy Nation emerged as a continental superpower, expanding their territories to include Okrin's Gulf, Okrin's Pride, the Arms of Okrin, Okrin's Valley, the Border Zone, and Rebirth, establishing the cities of the Hub, Bad Teeth, Stack, and their capital Blister Hill. consolidating their beliefs and philosophies in a text called the Holy Flame. The holy priests taught their followers to hate technology and spoke of a racial hierarchy where Greenlander and Scorchlander males were considered clean children of Okran, while human females required taming and were treated as property. The enforcers who became Shek were treated as corrupted, beastly humans who could be redeemed through the purification of slavery, while Hivers were also thought to be former humans, now so far gone in their beastly transformation, they could only be enslaved or killed as a mercy. Skeletons were entirely irredeemable and should be killed on sight. Under the theocratic government of the Holy Phoenix, the Holy Nation discriminated against women, enslaved non-humans, and forced religion upon their citizens. Yet they also had fertile lands with holy farms, providing plenty of food, water, and medicine, as well as walled cities protected by a police force, headed by inquisitors who also led their holy armies, and a fearsome military consisting of high paladins, serving as squad leaders and guards to the Holy Phoenix, paladins who were veteran soldiers, holy chosen who were frontline soldiers, holy servants who were unshackled slave soldiers, paladin guardians which protected high-value locations, and holy sentinels who protected mines and towns. A powerful slave state, the Holy Nation believed in purification through forced labor, sending captives to many sites throughout their lands, including Rebirth, an enormous mining camp where many non-humans or state enemies toiled under a giant statue of Okran in the hopes they might be purified, repent their sins, and eventually die to reincarnate as a faithful human. Others, however, were sent to holy mines to work as laborers under the authority of a high overseer. Provoking rebellion with their brutality, the Holy Nation Outlaws of the Border Zone and Hub formed from exiled citizens and former slaves, some of whom continued to worship Okran, but believed the Holy Phoenix and his followers corrupted the religion. There were also the Flotsam Ninjas of the Hidden Forest to the north, composed largely of women and slaves who escaped the Holy Nation. Led by Maul, they trained by fighting nearby cannibal tribes, increasing their might to one day challenge the Holy Nation. They too believed in their own version of Okran, which did away with the discrimination against women. In addition to facing rebel groups, the Holy Nation warred with the northern cannibal tribes and fought a long, bloody war against the Shek, eventually losing control of the hub, only to discover the enemy suddenly and hastily abandoned the city, setting fire to the buildings and leaving it a ruin. Unsure why they departed, the Holy Nation sent scouts to see if the hub could be resettled, but many, including several priests, claimed to see shadowy figures stalking them at night. When soldiers started disappearing, the scouts were convinced the city was cursed, perhaps by the demon goddess Narco. As reconstruction of the hub would be costly and an apparent threat haunted these ruins, the scouts retreated from the city and recommended against any further contact. Yet as it so happened, when both the Shek and Holy Nation departed, the trade ninjas moved in to open shops inside and outside the hub. The Holy Nation also invaded the United Cities with the destruction of Bast, turning the area into a hostile war zone, while ending a long stretch of peace between these states. At the time of the invasion of Bast, the Holy Nation followed the 62nd Holy Phoenix, a leader so devout that at the age of 16, he sentenced his own family to be purged in fire. Guarded primarily by the Protector of the Flame, the Holy Phoenix was aided by High Inquisitor Seta of Stak and High Inquisitor Valtena of the Okran's Shield military camp, as well as the elite Wrath of God army sent against their fiercest foes. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Pete J. King, Daedry Dragonswit, Delacruz the Freed, and Barian the Soft Bastard Beesbury. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.